Welcome to Cannabis Corner, where all of your questions are answered. Mondays at 1, they're here for you. Joe the weed guy and Farmer. Welcome to Cannabis Corner. So let's start the show.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Cannabis Corner on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. We are streaming live on TuneIn Radio and NewHavenIndependent.org. We're also streaming live video on Facebook and YouTube. Just go to your Facebook page, look us up, or hit see first to see and hear all the great programs we have here on WNHHLP. And just a reminder, Cannabis Corner is also streaming live on the Greenhaven Media Facebook and also ProCannabisMedia.com. Welcome, everybody. It is Monday, February the 2nd, 2026. Welcome to Cannabis Corner. I am your host, Joe LaChance, and of course, I am joined here by the one and only Uncle Lou, Farmer Lou. How are you today, my friend?
How are you, my friend? I appreciate always the warm welcome and happy hello and everything. I'm appreciating the Monday and the weather actually for Groundhog's Day. As part of, do you know anything that happened today about that? Maybe we'll talk.
I have no clue if the groundhog saw the shadow, but I did see some posts that did look like he did not.
Yes, the Farmer's Almanac says it's supposed to be a very cold winter. So
and he did not. That means it will be a cold winter.
6 more weeks of winter. 6 more. We got our Harry, the producer, said 6 more weeks of winter.
Yep, that's what the groundhog says. So somebody take that groundhog out back. And you know what to do with him. Feed him some hemp and weed. How about that? No, he'll show us. Anyway, he'll change his mind after that. So, yeah. Interesting. This is the start of Black History Month.
Yes, sir.
Interesting very to me. I wanted to spotlight one of our favorite people, that is Kibra, of course.
100%.
She is celebrating Black History Month with a few events this month. So she's got karaoke night tomorrow night, I'm sorry. Then she's got the Soulful Karaoke on Sunday, the 9th. Mm-hmm. She's got a boxing class on the 10th. And then she's doing another karaoke night on the 17th and some trap yoga on the 25th and then boxing. So, this is it. When you look at Keeper's website, it says right on the front, community and cannabis, where community and cannabis meet. So I really like that. And I did want to spotlight Keeper this month. Black History Month. Personally, I don't think that anybody needs a special month, but I also believe under the circumstances of the Black community here in America and the way they've been treated over the years, we deserve to give them recognition because they have their own personal history, which is interconnected with American history, but goes a lot deeper and a lot.
I'm for all holidays and for everything.
Yeah.
I'm all for a celebration. So happy Black
History Month. It should be all year,
Happy Black History Month, and I'm loving it. And Kibra's going to celebrate it great. Make sure to follow her social media because she's always got something amazing going on.
Yep.
We celebrate all of our nationalities every day of the year. So we love it. I'm super
that's the
excited.
whole thing.
So we'll continue to highlight. And, she is the face of cannabis here in New Haven, and we love her. So,
well, like I said, I'm discussing with the legal industry. I'm glad Michelle's coming on today to talk about some improvements, at least happening in the medical industry. So there's only really, like I said, there's only one dispensary I will support at this moment, and that is Keepers. So I want to continue that and highlight what she's got going on, and that's the deal. So anyway,
I hear you, brother.
So anyway, I saw an interesting article, Lou.
Okay.
About the gun industry. Have you seen this? How the gun industry is backing the weed industry? The NRA.
I don't see why not.
is backing medical patients' rights to have a gun permit.
As they should.
Yeah, it's very interesting, strange bedfellows, because that's always been one interesting thing to me how they, have discounted the medical patients out from owning a gun, whether they have a criminal record or not, whatever. Just because you're a medical patient, you can't own a gun. So I just saw it was on the Dab and Dad website. Of course, our friend John wrote it, John Watkins, and it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Strange bedfellows indeed. But it just
Well, I
piqued
think
my.
that's a great conversation as well. Maybe that's something we reach out to John to talk about a little bit because that is a big conversation. Does it start with, is it because most people believe that the only reason that you would get a cannabis medical certification is for PTSD or some type of mental illness? Because having Crohn's disease doesn't stop you or disable you
Absolutely
from
not, right.
any of your same rights to carry a firearm.
Yeah. So I mean, I agree. So it's always been one of the things that bothered me about the regulation from the moment they put it in. So I'm glad somebody's finally, and if it's the NRA who's sticking up and maybe it'll give the juice that the cannabis industry needs, strange bedfellows. Do you know what I'm saying? Strange bedfellows. But the rights, because if you can drink and you can take opioids by prescription and still get a gun permit, there's no reason why just because you have a medical cannabis card that you can't. So I think we're heading in the right direction with that. If we have to work with the NRA, then we work with the NRA. So shout out to who's ever pushing for that. But maybe Michelle has a little more insight,
Yeah, and I
into
think,
that.
and that's all about that normal, making things normal, and that things are working no longer in the taboo space. So as things become more mainstream, you're like, oh, we have to allow these things.
Yeah. I mean, certain things they do just don't make logical sense and they become incongruent. So it's time we straighten out those things. It's time we straighten out those things and put cannabis on the level of a real medicine. And that's it.
What's real tough is, it's almost becoming more legal to be a medical patient than to use CBD.
Almost. Thank God we got that hemp thing pushed off for a couple of years, but you are correct. They almost got to the point where they were criminalizing CBD. But you're right. And we're going to talk to Michelle about that. I think it's always a great hedge to have your medical card anyway, just because
Yeah,
not only
100%.
Connecticut, but what it offers you freedom around the country to get cannabis when you need it. So let's bring Michelle on. With us right now is Michelle Valet, and she is an MSN, APRN, FNP, and BC. She's a board certified family nurse practitioner and the founder of Advanced Telemedicine in Milford, Connecticut. Michelle has over a decade of experience in a hospital, school, and community settings, caring for patients caring for patients. After listening to thousands of patients' concerns, the growing need for additional access to healthcare became increasingly clear. Most patients were spending many hours in the emergency room to receive basic health care. We understood that health concerns can arrive at a moment's notice, especially on nights, weekends, and emergencies. Uh, Michelle is providing cannabis certifications. And welcome to the show, Michelle. How are
Thank
you?
you. I
I
am
also,
good.
before I moved on, I wanted to mention our sponsor, which is Metatron Homegrown. I want to give him a big thank, and I'm sure Michelle and him there's a tie together there. But Gabe has two locations, East Main Street in Meriden, 626, and 185 Boston Post Road in Orange. And Gabe's going to be joining us a little bit later on to tell us what he's got going on for February. But Michelle, sorry about that. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, no, anytime for Gabe. He is a great resource in the community, great friend of mine. He has a great thing going. I send a lot of patients to him who are interested in growing their own. So definitely excited that you're getting Gabe on.
Well, interesting tie between when you did have a standalone office in Orange for a while, and
Yes.
unfortunately, because of what the medical program has become, Gabe and you worked out a deal so that you can share the space, and Gabe now has a store there, and people can book appointments over there if they would like. So I mean, I think it worked out real well for both of you, and it's a great resource to have. Now we've expanded it to two. It was one, now it was two. It's growing and
Yes.
so very good. So yeah, on that note, because of what's happened, I would say when did the medical program really start to go downhill? Would you say it happened before legalization, or was it legalization that became the catalyst for let's say, the downgrading of the medical marijuana system here in Connecticut?
So my perspective of when I noticed the difference, and a lot of my perspective comes from the feedback of my patients, is when it became legal for adult use. I
Right.
think one of the issues that the state did wrong was that they tried to control everything so much, as they do. And so they opened it up to anyone 21 or over to be able to go to rec dispensaries and purchase products, but they never increased the number of growers or suppliers that we had in the state. So our four growers, our big growers, all shifted their focus from the medical patients to now trying to meet all the laws and regulations for the adult users. And we felt that. So the medical patients felt like the products they used to be able to find so easily were no longer available, hard to find. And then as an ultimate result, the price went up. So the last 2-3+ years have been struggling or harder on the medical patients. But like you said, this is probably the first year where we felt a big turnaround. So
Right.
that's something else I'm very excited about, to talk about some of those good changes that we are finally seeing.
Finally, I think we're starting to see that again. Connecticut did. I will say originally, and I've been working in the medical industry. I did Canna Health, and I used to give out the certifications myself with Canna Health over there, and the quality. And I used to purchase. From the dispensaries. The quality was much better. The selection of the products was much better. I just felt like you were taken care of much better back in those days. And yeah, the state made a big mistake by not increasing the number of producers before. They had 10 licenses they could have given out as medical producers, but they never did. But that's the past.
Yep.
We know where we're at. I think the state finally came to a realization. First thing they did, which was good, a couple of years ago, was they dropped the fee, right? Because a lot
Yes.
of people don't know. You used to have to pay the state $100 just to register yourself every year. So you had to pay $100 a year just to pay a medical patient. And then, of course, a doctor, being a medical doctor, an APN like yourself, needs to get paid a fee for their services. So you had two fees on top. So people would always use that excuse. So it's going to cost me $250, whatever. Now we've taken that off. The cost of a certification has obviously gone down because of telemedicine, right? I would have to say a lot of the expense I know with Canals was the actual physical office. So
Yes.
without having to have a physical office, you can charge less for the certification because your overhead is less, because this is how we're going to bring more patients in. So the state did recently, this year, change the way they're doing it. It's not every year. Tell us a little bit about that right now.
Yes. So I was just looking it up so I could give you the right quote. So we are now, from my understanding, the fourth state out of 48 that allow marijuana. So we're the fourth state that now is able to offer 2-year certifications. So it used to be a 1-year certification. And then as of January 1st in Connecticut, they are now giving providers a few options to better meet the needs of the patients, which is awesome. So not a lot of states are doing this. So I'm proud of Connecticut for actually being one of the few that have started. So we have the option of offering patients a 6-month certification.
Oh, okay.
That's great for somebody who may need it short term, maybe a snowbird that doesn't want to waste the money if they're not even going to be in the state half the year. So different reasons people may want a 6-month certification. It's pretty low in cost. I think the cost is like $50. So
Oh,
nice option for people that maybe even can't afford a longer one. So that's now available. 1 year is still available. And then 2 year is kind of the newer, most popular choice for a lot of people because they've been on the medical program for a long time. They have a chronic issue, chronic pain, something that's not going to go away.
they're not going to
So
go
by
off the program, right?
yeah. So by getting a 2 year, it's just so convenient. It's like a driver's license. You come, you meet with the doctor, we make sure everything's all set, and then you don't have to worry about it now for 2 years versus every year meeting with the provider, doing the state paperwork. That's the one thing. It's not hard, but it's another
It's a
step.
pain in the neck. I'm not. No, it's not hard. But I used to
It's
remember
a
every
pain in the
year.
neck.
It is.
So if I could
It
do it for patients, I
is.
would. I hate that step still exists, but anyways, it is. But with the 2 year, you don't have to worry about it for 2 years. So people have been loving the 2 year option.
I think that's great, and I think it's going to bring more people into the program. Do you know what I mean? And a few other things. I know that obviously with this rescheduling on the table still. I mean, I still haven't seen the paper signed, but but
We're
that's
closer than
going
we've ever
to
been. Yeah.
yeah. The government works as fast as it ever did, but
Yeah.
so I think that's going to be a game changer. As far now, I don't know how they're going to structure it, whatever. But as far as cannabis as medicine, because I've always said this, it's a very unique plant because it has multi-use. It's not just like liquor. It's not just to get you drunk or get you high. It has that medical use, and it's been proven where it is actually a analgesic, antibiotic properties. It has all these different properties within the plant that need to be explored. That really, really need. It could create a whole new line of medicine. I really, really believe that for many
Yeah.
different ailments. And we proved it on the field, right? And
Yes.
this is kind of what it's been like field testing for all these different ailments. And so there's trepidation, obviously, because it's the federal government involved in it. But I also have hope that it will open up the doors for people to see the real medicinal value of cannabis and not just look at it as a stoner's drug and the whole deal, a money making thing, as something that could really benefit humanity. And you're on the front lines, actually proving it. This is like literal proof on the ground that it works. So, and now one thing about having a medical card is you have to have certain conditions, right? So I understand that this year Connecticut added 2 new diagnoses this year for a
Yes.
medical card.
Yep.
So what were they?
So it was actually last year, 2024. So 2
Yeah,
years
it's a
now.
year
But
ago. Okay.
the most recent diagnoses that have been added to the list is autism and
Mm.
female orgasmic difficulty disorder. So let me talk a little bit about how to get added to the list before we talk about those other 2 diagnoses. So the program started in 2012. Joe, stop laughing.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, I know it started in 2012. I was there. Yes, go ahead.
so now it's like 14 years old. Anyways, when it started, there was about 17 diagnoses listed.
Very
Now
few.
we're
You're right.
over 40. So how it works is we do have a board of physicians in Connecticut, and when a group gets together and says that we know cannabis can fix this condition, they need to have enough supporting evidence studies that show the efficacy of cannabis. Then they present it to this board of physicians in the state. The board reviews it, and if there's enough evidence, they add it to the list. So the biggest thing with the descheduling is when it was a Schedule 1 drug, that is on the
Right.
same lines as heroin, LSD, like this super harmful, lockdown, hard to get your hands on drugs. So that's what made a lot of research difficult because scientists who said, I need cannabis, I need to do these studies,
No, you
they
can't
hit
have
a lot
it.
of roadblocks.
Yeah. Especially if they're state funded or things
federally
like
funded.
that.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So once it gets descheduled, that's going to lift a huge block
And
of
I
being able to
think
have access.
to our benefit in Connecticut, we have been Schedule 2 here for a while. So there was some research being done at Yale prior to legalization, which I think in a little way helped us get medical through. The fact that we had it as Schedule 2
Yes.
rather than Schedule 1 helped us get it through. So kudos to the state for doing that, but it wasn't the current administration, so I don't have to give them any props. Anyway, so
So Yale still has a big grant that's funding cannabis studies, and they actually have a whole department of cannabis research. So
they
I
called
would
me today,
encourage. Yeah, good. But yeah, I'd encourage people to check out their website because they have a lot of paid studies for people that use cannabis, that don't use cannabis. And I've actually participated in a few of their studies for other things. I worked at Yale. They'd come around with like a wad of cash. So they gave me $80 once in cash to take my blood as just a healthy individual to compare it to whatever else they were studying. So it can be kind of very easy. So it's
Oh
worth
yeah,
checking out, and you're doing good.
I'm on the email list, and I got the
Yeah.
email, and there's a ton of cannabis studies out there. I applied for one, cannabis and aging. Now I turned it down because they called me back, and in order to get into the study, they had to do all these different kind of blood tests and things like that on me, and then come to find out, the way they dose you with the cannabis is intravenously. They
Mm.
give you an intravenous dose of THC. And to me, I wasn't really feeling that. I'm like, can't you just
Yeah.
give me drops or a gummy? Or I've never thought of THC as an intravenous drug. And the thought of doing it that way, um, kind of turned me off. It was in a way scary to me. So I don't know what you
Yeah.
think about that, but that's how they were doing it, with an intravenous cannabis injection.
I mean, Yale is very type A from working there, from being a patient there. So I'm sure that they were following rules, regulations. So, but from what you're telling me, I would be very concerned about that too. I would need to know more information
It
about
felt like too much
what that's.
trouble.
Yeah, I wonder what they were mixing it with. Like, yeah, that would be quite
Saline,
an
she said it's mixed with
experience
saline. I didn't want to
to just
do
get
it.
a THC right into the bloodstream like that.
But
I'm
there
not
are
sure, but
other
they have
ones
a
for,
lot of different ones. Yeah.
yeah, that was just for the aging one because I'm a senior and they're curious to see how it affects seniors, but I don't want to go through that trouble for that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all down for any of us in the community who feel like should get involved in some of this research. Do you know if you possibly can?
Yeah.
And maybe educate these people while you're up there, because that's what they need more than anything is cannabis education. So, all right. So we have 40 qualifying conditions now. How does somebody really, know if they qualify? I mean, I know we have the PTSD regulation. I know for years we were trying to push it through for like as an alternative to opiate, for opiate use. We did get the chronic pain thing through, which can be kind of used that way. But how does somebody know if they qualify? Do they need to have a doctor's note? Do they need to get a recommendation from their medical doctor to come to you? How does that all work with all these? Now they have their 40 qualifying conditions, so it's
Yeah,
a
that's a
lot.
great question. And that's a big barrier. That's what turns a lot of people away or scares them. They're like, "Well, I've never been formally diagnosed. I was diagnosed 25 years ago. That doctor doesn't exist anymore." I hear all kinds of reasons. So, I tell my patients, this should not be stressful. Like my role here is to relieve your stress. So, people can certainly come to our practice. We're a primary care practice, advanced telemedicine, without any documentation. We will have a free private consultation. I will meet with them. We will go through their medical history and we will determine what is needed for medical documentation. If they don't have any or whatever the reason is, and we need to create some document, we may need two separate visits, one that documents their condition and then the separate one where we can complete the paperwork for the med card, but that's possible. So don't let the paperwork stop you. If you will benefit from this medicinally, we will help you get access.
Right, and a lot of people forget that you yourself are an APRN and you have all those letters about it. So there are certain conditions you yourself can diagnose, correct? With the
Yep.
proper physical and, you know, the proper appointments that they have with you, right? So it's not necessarily because I know what I used to find is a lot of people were not smart enough to get their after visit
Summary. Yep.
summaries at the end. And then they were afraid to ask their doctors because they were using it to get cannabis and they were get a cannabis certification, and they were afraid to go to their doctor and let them know that they were going to be using cannabis. You know, so has that pushback from the establishment medical community lessened a little bit? This was at least 5 or 6 years ago. Has it lessened a little bit? Do you find you're getting more referrals from doctors who may think their patients could actually use cannabis? Are you getting a little more cooperation with people's previous medical providers to get paperwork from something that you may not be able to diagnose? Has there been a little bit more cooperation, I guess, from the traditional medical industry with cannabis, medical cannabis?
Yeah. So yes, we are definitely moving in the right direction, not at record speeds, but I would say, and I tell patients this too, they're afraid to talk to their providers about it. But
Right.
once they do, I'm like, it's not, I promise you, going to be the first time your provider has heard this from someone. So a lot more people are using than ever before. So the providers are not shocked about having these conversations, which is good. So that's opened the doors a little bit, because the provider really should know if someone's using medical cannabis, especially if they're prescribing them other medications, cardiac meds,
Absolutely.
like other things. They should be aware to counsel their patients appropriately based on everything the patient's doing. But I do still see that a lot of providers are not certifying patients because they're just not comfortable. We've never received any formal training in medical school or nursing school for this. So that's where a lot of patients have issues is, okay, well, my doctor is agreeing to it, but they don't certify. So where do I go now? So that's why it became a specialty of our practice, is because we were hearing a lot of patients say that. And we're like, okay, this is obviously a need. So we became specialized in it. And so there are places like our practice that specialize in it. And that's where you would want to go if you did want to get a medical card.
Right, and I think a lot of the reason the regular medical providers won't do it is because they can't claim it on insurance. Let's be real. You know, that's where they make their bread and butter. And I know for a period of time there were people who were fudging it and putting it down as a regular office visit and things like that. But they got caught. You know,
Yeah.
that's how I found out about it. They got caught. But so
Yeah.
that's one thing, and I think even when they did that press conference, that one of the things that the president said was that he wanted it to be able to be covered by Medicare. So maybe if the medicine itself and the appointments are covered by Medicare, that will open up more, you know, medical usage of the plant, and possibly more manufacturing of real medicines of the plant, right? So hopefully that'll happen. We'll just have to see. But you know, you're always again sliding that slippery slope when you start getting insurance and the government involved in anything, as you know. So
But the other nice thing that people don't really think about is a lot of the mental health workers have come on board quicker than providers. So if I have a patient that comes to me and they have talked to their therapist about this, they have PTSD diagnosis, a lot of therapists are pretty comfortable with writing medical documents that we can use that support that, you know, their patients under their care, that they have a PTSD diagnosis. So that's another avenue that we go with as well.
yeah, I was going to mention that. I feel like the therapy, the psychiatric industry has embraced it a little bit more. I don't know what the reason may be, because maybe they've realized that the stuff that they give out doesn't really work. um, but and also it could be a lot of their patients are probably using it already. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they're seeing that, okay, it does help with their PTSD, their stress, all the things that come along with PTSD. And of course, we still have that test, right? If it comes down to where their psychiatrist or whoever will not give them, or they're afraid to ask for it, we still have that test that you can take for PTSD, correct? I remember there used to be a form you could fill out.
Yes. So it's a questionnaire and
Right.
it's graded. And if you score a certain level, it'll diagnose your PTSD and it'll even diagnose it to the severity of it. So if you score, I don't remember the exact number, but say 20, you might have signs of mild PTSD. But it's not just that test. It's a test. You do that questionnaire in conjunction with, a visit where we discuss your
Right.
history of a traumatic event or events. Yeah.
Right.
But there is a way of diagnosing PTSD. And in Connecticut, we do not have anxiety, depression, or trouble sleeping, insomnia
Yeah, I
alone
know.
on our qualifying list. Other states do. So my hope is at some point we get those added, because those are probably in my top 5 diagnosis of what I hear from patients of why they use marijuana. So
Those are
PTSD was
secondary symptoms, though, of PTSD, correct?
that's what we have done in this state is yes, they are. And so that's where we will usually loop it into. So if a patient comes to me with one of those other symptoms, I'll say, well, have we ever considered PTSD? And then they go, oh yeah, this happened to me, that happened to me, So what PTSD is you have gone through some kind of traumatic event, and it was what was traumatic for you. So we always
Yeah.
think of war and these extreme events, which certainly are
Jail,
traumatic.
war, right.
Yes. But COVID was very traumatic to a lot of people. A divorce, there's a lot of things that are
Losing your
traumatic.
job,
Yes. So if
divorce,
something has
even.
happened to you and you have now these symptoms, that's when we say, all right, well, maybe you have a diagnosis of PTSD. So that is kind of what a conversation would look like if you were to call and see if you qualify under those other symptoms.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people either they block out some of these dramatic incidents, or they also don't realize the source. I'm anxious, I'm depressed. The source goes way back to a trauma that they had in childhood. It doesn't have to be in childhood, it could be any
Yeah.
time. The source goes back to a trauma that is just keeps being triggered. And that's why the anxiety and the depression keep coming back on them and back on them. So, it's good. It's a good thing, I think, with the 2 year thing. Now, I also notice we saw that a ton of licenses were given out uh, to a lot of recreational facilities, and that dropped pretty much the number of medical only dispensaries in the state, because I know a lot of them just closed up shop, like here in Milford, right? We had 2 dispensaries, 2 medical
Yeah.
dispensaries, and as soon as they went rec and Milford decided against rec, right? They only were going to allow medical. Those places did not keep the medical open. They shut them down and left the city, which I think was, a disservice to the community here in Milford. Because now all we have is literally one strictly medical dispensary, and I think that's in Westport. Is that correct? Blue Point?
Yeah. So
And that's
there's
only for the
20.
same reason, because they won't allow adult use.
Yeah.
So
So
go
there's
ahead.
25 medical dispensaries in Connecticut, and 24 of them are hybrid. So we have one medical only left, the one in
Right.
Westport, Blue Point.
Right. So, and that even I was reading is planning on moving out of Westport, or so they can open up a hybrid somewhere else, something like that. But I also saw some good news, and I want to get to this because you are also you're doing pop-ups now, which actually, promoted me to think about having you on the show because I think it's important that you're going out to these dispensaries and offering the certifications right there. So Fine Fettle, interestingly enough, is one of the dispensaries you work with, has just made an announcement that they're going to convert their rec onlys into hybrids, correct?
Yes.
So I think that's a big move for them. Tell me a little bit about what you know about that, because that's what I noticed that you've been doing a couple pop-ups there. And we'll go over your schedule in a minute, but yeah, tell us what you know about that and what prompted them.
So I think we're now kind of shifting back towards pro medical. I think it was never that we were not into medical. I think the focus went to rec when it started and medical suffered from it. A lot of people said, why should I have a medical card if it's available rec now? So a lot of people chose not to renew. But now we're going back to it's still very worth having a medical card, especially because as we become more rec friendly in the state is loving the money. So I think every week the taxes go up a little bit more, a little bit more.
Yeah, I think they fudge that.
So we are now up to, last time I checked, I may be incorrect, 26% of taxes on the rec side. So right off the bat, getting a medical card, you're paying 26% less. So it's definitely cheaper on the medical side because you don't pay taxes. And then the rec side is very restricted, especially with products. So the medical side has other products that are really popular with my patients, creams in particular, topicals, tinctures, which are a really nice alternative to smoking, only available on the medical side. Also, how much you're allowed to carry on you. This was a big selling factor for a lot of people.
Right.
So
that's a big selling point.
Without a medical card, you can carry on you up to 1.5 ounces. With a medical card, you can carry on you up to 5 ounces. It's a big difference. So I did have a lot of patients last few years who were just sick of the lack of supplies in Connecticut, the high prices. So they decided to grow their own, and they just wanted their medical card to have that legal protection in case they had a nice harvest and they wanted to transport what they grew. If they were ever to get stopped or in trouble, they could justify it with their card. So I think the state is starting to see that people want their medical cards. And so I do think that we're starting to see our medical population start creeping back up. And so these places like Fine Fettle want to make that available. So it's great.
Right. No, I think when I saw that, I was impressed. I was glad to see that happen because, a lot of people were turning away. So that's good. So we have 24 hybrids now.
25.
25, and one is only one is straight up medical.
You're right. No, I'm sorry. We have 25 medical dispensaries, 24 hybrid. Yeah.
Okay. 25 medical, 24 hybrid. Right. Okay.
And that wasn't counting the 3 or 4 new Fine Fettles that are being added in. So those numbers will change a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's good. And you're out there now. I know you're making some appearances out and about. Tell us a little bit about where you're going to be, where the pop-ups are. I know you're going to be doing this Expo Canna up this year. Tell us a little bit about that. When somebody comes to one of these pop-ups, can they actually talk to you and get certified right there, or do they have to just set up an appointment and do it separately? Tell us a little bit of how that works.
So it depends where we're at. We are not allowed to certify people within a medical dispensary, but we do pop-ups there because obviously people are coming in to get their products. A lot of people in the rec, this is a big one. A lot of people coming in on the rec side, you have to place an order in the kiosk before you could get to the counter on the rec side because it's basically like a buy and pick up. And I see right behind me, I'm usually sitting there and I see these people frustrated. They don't know what to get. They need help. They finally just pick something and they get to the counter. They're lucky if they get their questions answered. Whereas medical, this is obviously what I support, is you don't have to pre-order. There's always a pharmacist behind the counter on the medical side. So those patients are able to just scan their card, walk right up to the counter and spend as much time as you want talking to the pharmacist, letting them know about your symptoms, and then they will help guide you and recommend products. And most of the dispensaries also have private consultation rooms. So they don't really advertise that. It takes some of their time up, but it is a service that's available to you free of charge. So I tell my patients that they should know you can always request a consultation, and then you could sit privately in a room. You're not yelling your questions over the counter. So anyway, so this is what I see while I'm at the dispensary. And so part of my role being there is educating patients about what options are available to them, because people just walk in and they don't know. It's not really clearly explained. So I don't certify patients at a dispensary. We do have a get your card in your car program where they can come in, see me, say, yeah, I definitely want a med card. I give them a QR code. They could go to their car, scan it, and then I do have some other nurse practitioners that work with me. So we are all about convenience and fast. So they can scan their card in the car and talk to a nurse practitioner right away. So we definitely can get them connected.
Okay, great.
At the expo coming up, we are able to do cards on site, which is even more convenient because, you're in the mode. You're like, all right, let's just get it done. So we do have a private exam room that's mobile that we bring around. Patients love it. We'll sit down. We have our conversation. I have my laptop and we'll get it all done if you qualify. And if you don't, we don't charge you. So we're not about
take
dishonesty.
The money and run, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. I only service Connecticut. This has become a passion of ours. We've seen a lot of people helped from it. The reason we have low prices is because we want to make it affordable.
Yeah, what are your prices? I mean, we're not supposed to talk price on the air, so I'm sorry about that. But you have low prices. They can find out. This is public radio. We're not supposed to. So.
Go to our website. We pride ourselves on high ratings, low prices. If you find lower, we will match. So come to us. We want to take care of you. So give us a chance.
Now I see. Now you also got this wellness event, Pine Fettle, and we might as well talk about this. It's an interesting thing on the 7th. This weekend, this Saturday, at the Dead Language Brewery in Hartford. What is that all about?
So it'll be our first time participating in this event, but Fine Fettle sponsors a lot of events. So we're excited to go, and it's going to be a wellness event with, I think, yoga practitioners, other naturopathic practitioners. It kind of goes along with the idea of cannabis therapy, and it was supposed to be in January, but it got rescheduled because of the snow. So it's going to be this Saturday, 11 to 7. It's free admission, which you can't go wrong. Just pop in. There's, I think, 30 plus vendors. It's a pretty decent size event. So you get to, it's an opportunity to see the local resources. I think that's what I love about being part of this community, is because we're all doing great things, but because it's just not streamlined, mainline. I don't know what the right word is, but I hate that my patients have no idea of what resources are available to them in the state because everyone's so siloed.
It's not consolidated in one place. This is why I try to do on the show, promote whatever I can. But even I miss certain events. There are certain things going on. It'd be nice to have it all consolidated so that the practitioners and you could even post them up, let people know what's going on, because there's a lot of cool community events going on. This I didn't even know about until I saw your schedule. And that's at a brewery, so it's off site. You could probably do certifications there, correct?
Yep. So I'll be doing certifications there.
That's this Saturday. And then where's Crisp in Trumbull now? Is that a new dispensary?
It is a newer dispensary. They're great. They're going to be sponsoring, one of the main sponsors of Expo Canna coming up. So they're doing a lot of outreach programs themselves to get, their word out there, their name out there. So Expo
you're doing that on the 11th, right?
Yep. So I'll be at their dispensary then. Yeah. And Expo Canna we're really excited for. That's going to now be the second year at the AquaTurf, or is it the third year?
Second, I think. I went last year. Yeah, I believe it was second.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Second year, because it used to be at Mohegan. Now they moved it to the AquaTurf in Southington. So we will be there again.
And that's Valentine's Day weekend, right? That is the 14th and 15th. And that is, like you just said, at the AquaTurf up there in Southington. And so you'll be there. There's a lot of other vendors going there. People can find out more about that if they want. to see you there. So that's a good thing. And then you're going to be over at True Leave in Bristol, and then Fine Fettle in Bristol on the same day. Two in one day, huh?
Yeah, because it's nice they're near each other. So yeah, we try to just pop in. Either I go or I have two patient care advocates, Jen and Ebony, who work with me as well. So sometimes they'll do pop-ups with me or for me. So you'll see a member of our team. We're just trying to spread the word and answer questions.
Yeah, well, that's it. A lot of people aren't educated, and that's the most important thing. Um, and it's a good thing that you can actually go out and educate. Now, one thing I did want to touch on, besides all the benefits you get of the no taxes, you get to carry more cannabis on you, you get a better selection, you get better care for your conditions. You also get this reciprocity where you can use your medical cannabis card in certain states that have the card, right? That have a
Yes.
medical program. So that's another benefit to having a medical card. I know you can. A lot of people travel to Florida, right?
Yes. So Florida does not accept out-of-state medical cards, but more states do now. If you go to my website, I have a list of all of them there. So that's the easiest way to find it. But I also have a list here in front of me. Maine has accepted out-of-state medical cards for a while now.
Rhode
New
Island,
Kids on the
correct?
Block. What?
Rhode
Yeah.
Island too, right?
Rhode Island, New Jersey, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania. Those are the closest to us. And then we have Utah, Oklahoma, New Mexico. So probably 20 states or so, except Connecticut med cards. So that means if you go to those states, you could get all the benefits of a medical patient.
And
So
there are
what I
certain
would
states that
recommend,
are only medical and not rec that you could go to, right? Whereas if you went there, I know Arkansas. I think Arkansas does that have reciprocity?
yes, it does. And so
And
does
they're only
Pennsylvania.
medical, right? And they're only medical. So if you're traveling, let's say to Pennsylvania or doing cross country and driving through, if you have that medical card, you could get cannabis. Whereas if you're only recreational, you couldn't. And Puerto Rico is the same way. So they have reciprocity for U.S. medical patients, but they don't have legalized cannabis. So if you want to get cannabis in Puerto Rico, and I will tell you from personal experience, they have some good quality stuff down there. They got some good products. So and that's a destination. You can get your medical cannabis in Puerto Rico. So yeah, we're coming along. We're coming along.
Yes, we are. So I don't hear of it happening so much currently because what we didn't talk about though is other reasons why Connecticut has gotten better. So finally last year the state did give out more grow licenses. So we went from the
Yes.
same 4 growers that we've had to now 8+ growers. So our supplies have greatly improved in the state. Variety's coming back and cost is coming back down. So the patients are seeing that and are
Yes,
happy.
yeah. I did notice that.
I had a lot of patients going to Rhode Island for products because they just couldn't
Mass.
find it in Connecticut. They go to Mass not because they accept out-of-state medical cards, for other reasons, cheaper prices, variety.
Yeah.
But my recommendation would be if you are going to make the drive to another state, check out their websites first because all of the dispensaries' websites have their menus and their prices. So you don't have to just kind of go on a blind drive. You could kind of figure out what you want,
Well,
and see
yeah,
who
good.
has it,
Plot
and then
your
it'll
strategy.
make the trip worth it. Yes, exactly.
Speaking of growing,
There
we
he
have
is.
joined with us our sponsor, Gabe Zamarino from Metatron Homegrown. Gabe, how are you today?
Good. How are you? Good. Hi, Michelle. How are you? Lou,
Hi,
you on
Gabe.
there? Yeah.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Very good. Very good.
Good,
Nice to
good,
see
good.
Nice
Yeah,
to see
we've been talking a lot about medical and how you guys kind of connected and are associated, and the benefits of growing your own.
you.
And how many patients, obviously, Michelle, come to you probably and say, look, I'm sick and tired of not getting my strains, of not getting, they want to learn either how to grow their own or make their own medicine and stuff. You send them to Gabe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
So I don't see it as a threat when a patient says, "Oh, I'm kind of interested in growing my own." Like they might mention it, but they're kind of afraid to talk to me about it. I embrace that. I'm like, "Oh my God, that's wonderful." I think if you
Yeah.
grow your own, I think it's a lot of work. It could be a lot of work,
Yes, it
but you
is.
can learn so much about it and you appreciate it. So I think everyone should try to grow at least one of their own plants.
Yeah.
And I always say, I do send a lot of people to Gabe because I think it's important to have somebody like Gabe who really can walk you through all the steps and tell you what you need. And yeah, he's a great resource.
That's exactly right, and he would know which strains would help you out with whatever different ailments you may have,
Yeah.
because he
And,
knows the qualities of each different strain.
and like issue number one is, well, where do I get the seeds? Go talk to Gabe. So that's
Gabe,
like
let's
step number
talk
one.
about
So
that. I
yeah.
know we're in January, and people may think it's a little bit too early to start thinking about their grows, but we tend to disagree, don't we?
Yes.
Time is now,
Yeah.
right?
Let's get going. Get started. It's important. It's funny. I just logged in late. I had a customer here asking for a specific strain. And what I do is I always tell them to get their med card because you're allowed to carry more, right? 5.5 ounces. Um, and then I always, I try to help them with what's something they've already consumed and then that they like it. We have over 100 strains. So we try to, like, Animal Tsunami is what they were looking for, and we had it. So was able to sell it, something they were looking for. So,
So
yeah.
see, there you go. That's how it all works hand in hand.
Mhm.
So it's February. Do you got any events coming up? You got classes coming up this month where people can come
So,
by, learn a little bit of something?
so this weekend, I'm still working it out. I should have the soil makers. We're doing a rosin class. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday, but we're going to try doing it early, 11 to 3 in Meriden on Sunday, and then Saturday, 11 to 3 in Orange. Also, then the 7th of March, we're going to have Corey from Focus Seeds. They're doing a seed swap here. That's March 7th. And then I think I have Soil Wars on the last Saturday of February. We're going
The
to have,
last Saturday is Soil Wars.
yeah.
Now tell me about Soil Wars.
So we're going to have Fox Farm, Bio 365, Coast of Maine, and we are having also Rodan come. They're not they're soilless, but he wants to talk some trash. So it's kind of an all good banter to talk, why your soil's better and getting our season started off with the right stuff to grow.
Yeah, let's do Seed Wars too. Let's do
Yeah,
Seed
see, well,
Wars.
it's going to be, that's,
Seed Wars would be
yeah, I like it. Yes. That's a great idea.
Seed Wars in March.
Yes.
So that's the end of the month. The last Saturday, you're going to have Soil Wars. This weekend, do you have rosin pressing at both locations?
Yep.
Good. And of course, your door is always open
Yes.
over there. If people want to come in, get some advice on how to grow, pick up some soil, pick up some seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Now is the time to start looking,
Yes.
getting your stuff prepared, figuring out what strains you want to grow, figuring out your medium. This is why we have Soil Wars and things like that.
Yeah. And then
Who wins the war? That's who you pick.
if anybody, Thursday, I'm doing a free class on extraction of keef. So that will be aired, and I got some people who can't come on the weekends; they work. So we're doing like an exclusive class Thursday in Meriden around 3:00, 3 to close. We're gonna get some dry ice. If you have any material you want to extract, just bring it down. We're gonna do it. I'm doing CBD. Another friend of mine, Dwayne, is doing THC. And Bill Carter is doing a THC as well. So we all got a bunch of strains we're doing. So if you guys,
Nice.
yeah, come on down.
So come on down. That's Thursday night.
Thursday.
And Thursday afternoon. Okay. So in the afternoon. And that's in the Meriden location.
Yes.
Very, very cool, Gabe. How do people reach you? Get in touch with you on social media?
Yeah.
Give me all the info now.
So a good one to do is reach out to me on Instagram is another good one. Send me messages on there. That's at Metatron Homegrown. Or also you can check in at the Meriden store. Our phone number there is 475-775-5171. And then we have the Orange store, which is 203-298-0715. And you can also reach out on the website.
Okay, very, very good. And Michelle, we're getting towards the end. I want you to give out the info. I also know that if you did want to make an appointment with Michelle, you can do it through Gabe. So, right in Metatron Homegrown. So that's another place. All her information is up there. But tell us, Michelle, how we can get in touch with you. The best way to find out, how to get our medical card and find out if you qualify.
So you could book an appointment yourself online at advancedtelemedicine.com. You could also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're very active, so we always have everything up to date there. You could also sign up for our newsletter. I have started Connecticut Canna News, which I send out once a month. And I just put all of the kind of big changes in the state that I think my patients should know of into that once a month email. So you can certainly sign up for our newsletter or give us a call. Judy is our office manager. She's excellent. Judy. She will take good care of you and set you up with an appointment with me. Our number is on our website, and it's 1-800-835-9812. And yes, I want to say thank you to Gabe. We have collaborated, and we do have a small office space there at Metatron in Orange for patients that do prefer to come in person. So you could always stop in there as well.
So, right, make an appointment with you, and you can meet him right down at Metatron Homegrown, Gabe. Yeah. Down there, there's an office back there of advanced telemedicine. So that's a great thing. And then, of course, if they want to grow, they come out and talk to Gabe.
That's right. Yeah. They all get interrogated by me, I promise.
Well, I like the way the synergy works of the community now, and I think it's starting to get more and more this way. Like Michelle, with you going out and doing pop-ups, and I know, Gabe, you go out to various places where you'd never think a cannabis grower would be, like the Milford Oyster Fest and various places. Will you be at the Expo Canna?
Me? Yes, I got to talk to Wes. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be there. Just some of the laws are kind of
right.
Dealing with issues if I can sell clones, and it's just like it's a lot of money to be there. So I don't know. I'm just trying to figure that out. So
either way, you'll be open.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If they don't go to Expo Can, they can come hang out with Gabe on Valentine's Day. That's right. All right. Well, I've been given the signal. We got 1 minute left. Thank you both. Thank you, Michelle Valet from Advanced Telemedicine. Give her a call, advancedtelemedicine.com. Gabe, thank you for being our sponsor. Right. We love you. And go down there. You want to learn more about how to grow your own and get the hot strains for this season. So anyway, thank you, Uncle Lou. How are you?
This was one of those shows that was always packed full of statements and everything. It's amazing. I love having all these great people on. And for you, my brother Joe, stay happy, healthy, and high, my friend.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Uncle Harry, hit that music. We're ready to roll.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Like, share, subscribe at Joe the Weed Guy, at Greenhaven Media, at Cannabis Corner Radio. Thank you very much for your support. We love you all. New Haven Independent, WNHHLP. We'll see you next week.